Time it's time for some oats. Get some oats in your bowl, and let's dig in. Thanks for joining us for another oats. Figured I'd just go ahead and create a new intro to and another thing, which is a returning segment that we have here on the Dinosaur and the Dude, where we'll talk about things here and there, topics that come to mind, and the likes. Typically, they're brain farts that come up that don't make it into the show, and so totally unscripted intro that is full of ASMR tricks, because neither the dinosaur or I understand ASMR, let alone can say the letters. Here we go to the start of another and another thing. Enjoy. Hey everyone, this is the Dude from the Dinosaur and the Dude, dropping you a new segment of and Another Thing, which is a semi-reoccurring segment that we do from time to time on the podcast, where the dinosaur or I will talk about things that come to mind that may or may not be off topic on some things that we have from a previous episode. We might not ever talk about them during the episodes, but I feel like this one we might, because I'm going to ask the dinosaur how she feels about it later. Now, we would have done our typical episode that we do, but we had to put it on hold for a little bit because the dinosaur has the platypus tickle. We'll just say it that way, because I don't know how people may or may not hear what we got because of it, but yeah, it's got the platypus tickle right now. In any case, we'll talk about it with her when we're all together again. But one of the things that I had come to mind, and it's come to mind several times, and I wanted to put it out there and possibly get a reaction of how people feel about it too. It's celebrating the genius of people, but then also the price of that genius, or the balancing thing of that genius that people have that we don't know about. Like, a lot of times there's things that people will have that are genius and we think they're amazing, but there's a lot of things going on in the background that make that genius something that we can all experience. And this kind of dovetails into the previous topic where we were talking about how we appreciate the artist, but not the person. Once we find out more about the actual person behind the art, we want less of that art, or we want more of that art, depending on, usually if it's negative, and that goes right in hand with cancel culture and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that came to mind that kind of reflects a very good example of all this stuff is Mel Gibson, Kanye West. There's some others that came to mind, and I'm blanking right now. But in those two instances, it was examples, I should say. It was instances that shown how or where they were, and what and how we saw them later on, and how drastically different it was. And I'm not saying one, it's kind of presumptuous to say one is a genius or one is not, or who is a genius and who is not. But there's a certain thing that people like about it. And I'm only using genius because especially in regards to Kanye, because people have referred to him as such, and they look at it like, oh, okay, well, he should be doing this, or he should be doing that, or he should be doing this. He's a genius. But he's only a genius by this thing that you all like about him. Not necessarily intellectually proven, socially proven. It's only this one aspect in regards to music and or a production of an art form itself. And I have to admit, I'm one of those people that when Kanye came out with his first albums, I was like, this is fucking phenomenal. I have to admit that. But did I look at Kanye past that person that was putting out these albums? No, I did not. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of us do and did. Even a lot of people that refer back to those albums, like, dude, if he is just, it's just amazing, phenomenal. I can't understand how this guy has not been found after all this time. He's doing such amazing work, such amazing music. And his mixing of certain types of tracks and production level with that, how he started bringing more people in to do things with him. It was just a phenomenal thing that was going on. And you had to sit back and just listen to the lyrics and try and figure out, okay, is this the start of something that is really going to be amazingly special? At the time, Eminem was out and already doing his thing, and that's another example of the same thing I'm talking about right now. So let's jump over to Eminem real quick, and then we'll come back to Kanye. People loved Eminem and Slim Shady. Okay, Marshall Mathers, who the fuck cares, right? Who the fuck cares about Marshall Mathers? This Eminem, this Slim Shady, that's what we want. We want that. And Marshall Mathers was talking about the things that Marshall Mathers was going through by way of projecting it through Slim Shady and Eminem. Drug addiction, one of them. Trouble with relationship and how things were going on, one of them. No one really cared about that shit because they were always looking at, this is the product that we get from the turmoil and really, really shitty situation that he's having to deal with. His alcoholism, his drug addiction, what we get, what the products that we get from that, that's what we want. Amy Winehouse, same way. Now, these are other people that I was referring to earlier that others came to mind, but I can't recall who it was. Amy Winehouse is another. Her alcohol. Who cares? She's destroying her body. She's shortening her life. But the music she's putting out, the product she's putting out, that's what we want. And let's jump to Kanye. Same thing. What he was going through, what drugs he was on, what medications he was taking, supposed to be taking and whatnot. We didn't give a fuck. I have to say we, because I feel like that I wasn't the only person with that mindset. And I was partially because of that mindset for each of those people that I just mentioned, because I really didn't look further into it than that. I really didn't care about them. I really didn't care. Wasn't invested in them on a personal level, because I only had an understanding of them as a person by way of their music. That's how I knew of Amy Winehouse. That's how I knew of Eminem. That's how I knew of Kanye. I didn't know them personally. I never was bumping into them. So, what? No. It didn't, when's the next album coming out? Oh man, that's going to be great when it does. I think that's the thing that a lot of people have, that they experience with them. And now, much, 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 much further down, you start having people, I didn't think his album was good. That album sucked. And people start making these comments about they need to get back on the drugs. They need to start drinking again. They need to start basically encouraging someone to not take care of themselves, not try, be the anti-voice to betterment for that person. They would rather have them diminish in some fashion like that in order to continue to produce a product that they enjoy. Your well-being be damned, because we want to go to a phenomenal concert, a bomb-ass concert, over you taking a break in rehab and deciding you're not going to pop pills anymore and not going to drink liquor anymore. You're going to go clean and sober, and then when you go clean and sober, your music sounds like shit. That's not a quote. That's just a mental summation of what a lot of people that I know of would respond to. Is like, oh man, it was much harder when he was doing this. And of course, a lot of new artists, when they come out, they're hungry. They're going to go grind it all out. And some of them have that work mentality where they are going all out, nonstop, all the time. Lil Wayne comes to mind. Tupac comes to mind. Those guys, they are just grinding out stuff. How that's working for their own well-being, don't know. And then when they crash, then it becomes a better story. It's like, oh man, he's if you don't survive the crash, then you're washed up. And it's a very, very interesting thing, because you're almost celebrating this person being in a state of just in a continually diminishing state. But the mentality and the way that they go about producing things is what you would rather them continue to do than getting better for themselves and enjoying life, or reconciling a relationship, or whatever the case is that got you engaged with them. And this is not just the music. I'm just saying music hits a lot more people, and it seems like a scenario that you see a lot of times in music, but you'll see that also in a lot of actors. Like I was saying, Mel Gibson's one of them. Like you couldn't do anything without thinking about Mel Gibson as being in a leading role in some capacity. Mad Max, oh my gosh, oh wow. And then now, after those drunken segments, and he's doing very anti-Semitic dialogue, racist dialogue, and then you're like, fuck Mel Gibson. So now what? Can't watch Mad Max, I guess, or I guess other people take a hit too. I don't know. That goes back to the previous episode. But people start to understand and see him on a personal level, and on the personal level that you're exposed to, right? Because nobody's sitting around buddy with Mel Gibson. So you're understanding Mel Gibson on a off-screen, personal level, so to speak. But a segment of that, a recorded segment of that incident, not necessarily a sit down unless to really, really get to know you. I'm going to get to know you, air quotes there. I'm going to get to know you all within this one soundbite of you. And how really truly that is you is sort of it's a guess. But at the same time, I think it's one of those things where it becomes an immediate judgment call where people are now not wanting to be around this person based off of that one interaction. In Kanye's aspect, he does similar anti-Semitic things, statements, and whatnot. His exposure is even more because media's changed since then, since Mel Gibson's incident. But Kanye's at a level where he's a lot more exposed media-wise than someone like Mel Gibson at the time. And yeah, people are immediately like, oh yeah, that's some insanity. I think that in order for someone to be a genius, there has to be a toll paid. And that toll isn't something that people really understand unless they are in that situation or they are family members of that person that are there, they're around them often enough to see it in effect. There's compulsive tendencies, or there's certain quirks here or there, or there could be sexual preferences that are a little bit beyond the norm, and none of those I'm excusing in some sort of way. Like I'm not saying that bestiality is great if you're a genius. No, I'm not saying giving it a pass. I'm saying that there's a balance, there's a toll, there's a thing that you have to make sure that isn't forgotten when you're celebrating a genius. And when you come to realize what that thing might be, realize also that is a part of it. You can't get all the bonuses, and you can't get all pros and no cons. You just can't. And like I've mentioned in previous episodes, I do a lot of gaming, both RPG, pen and paper, old school pen and paper, and then also MMOs and the like. And when you even and it sounds stupid to reflect to it in this way, but even when you're building a character, you can't get one that's all pros and no cons. You have pluses and minuses. And if you put all your points in intelligence and wisdom, you're not going to have enough points for charisma. You're not going to have enough points for strength. Something's going to give. And I think it's indicative of certain things also with people that we hold in a high regard of some sense. Once we get to know, once things start to chip away over time and you start to see them on a off-screen, off album, out of a studio level, or you bump into them and you talk to them personally or whatnot, that's where you start to really see them as being more of a human being than the persona that you built them up to be. Because there's a persona that they are, and there's a persona that you add, that you take that persona and you add to it more with your own perception and understanding of things. And none of those are exactly how that person is as an individual, personally, and human being, outside of whatever it is that they do. Athletes, same way. It's just interesting that doesn't ever seem to be fully accounted for. It seems to only be something that people dog or point out as being the thing that you now cancel them for. I think that your money only makes you more of the person that you are. It doesn't change you. It just helps you be more the person that you are. You just have the means of having less restrictions at being who you are. And also the same, like say with Elon Musk. Genius, 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 genius. Oh, this guy's amazing. Oh, this guy's from another planet. What? He did what? What? He treated people like what? He fired all these people. What? This guy's an asshole. I hate him. Oh, he's a fucking God. Ugh. It's like amazing how that changes, but you have to also really think of it. If you're a genius in this aspect, you're also someone that is highly analytical. So the human compassion level is not going to be the same. The desire to do something in a human, or take breaks, or only work 8 hours, or holidays, or think of this, or do that, stop working when you're sick, doesn't compute with someone that is working on a higher level than that, with someone that is on a higher intelligence than that. And I'm not saying that people are dumb. I'm just saying that that's the perception. Your perception changes when you are in that setting. When you are, thinking that way. And so it's interesting when people see things that benefit them. And from that perspective, this person is a genius. But there's always room in front of genius to put evil. And you could be an evil genius. I think that as long as it's benefiting someone, they can only see the genius aspect of it. But you have to take into consideration that there's still people, and there's still people that do things for the goals, means, perspectives, and initiatives that they are looking to achieve. Not yours, not your own. I think that you have these things that people see others have, but they don't take under consideration the personal aspects of them, the people aspects, how they have been going, and they never can be themselves. And so this moment that they are themselves, then it's like, what the fuck? You're an asshole. No, I'm just me. I'm just doing me things. You're just seeing me do my me things without a script, without a background track, without lights and a dance stage, without yards and a field goal, or you're seeing them as a real person. And I don't know what that means in regards to, do you like them anymore? Do you cancel them? I just think that a lot of times people have to realize that there is something that is just so opposite of what they're experiencing that is getting them to see this aspect of them. Where it's like, it used to be to where, like, I would watch the Olympics, and they would talk about Olympians, and they would talk about all this turmoil in their life and what they had to go through to get there. And they were like, they're the greatest athlete that's ever touched the, like, what the fuck? They're the greatest. They're amazing. This is phenomenal. 9s and 10s across the board. They had to do what? They went through what? They have a learning disability. They were kicked out of school. They were what? Wow. That's the type of person I'm cheering on right now. So I think to close it out, it's one of those things where, be mindful of what and who you're cheering for, and where it is that they come from, how it is that they perceive things. If you don't know them personally, then you only just know an aspect of them that they're presenting to you, whether it's a persona, whether it's a character on screen, whether it's a thing that they have to maintain in order to make themselves presentable to you. But there's a lot of people out there with mental health issues, eating disorders, turmoils that they can't really talk about, both past and present. We have to leave room for those types of things because we honestly don't know them. And that's where you have to also realize that, okay, this thing that I enjoy from this person is a thing that I enjoy from this person. Were they abusing certain things or people? Yeah. Okay. That's where you can find your own means of whether you continue with them or not. I think in the last episode I made reference to Weinsteins. You can draw a line and say, yeah, fuck the Weinstein. But their movie, this movie that they got produced, or I enjoyed that and the actors that are in it. But now that I know about the people running it and how they abused them, fuck. Do I want to contribute to this movie and hopefully it gets to them? Yeah, okay, that's something you have to figure out about yourself. But I think it's really hard for us to go back and try and now erase or flush away all these things that we really promoted, enjoyed, and really was positive towards in regards to these things, people and whatnot, only to find out something different about them, and then we feel kind of hurt and bamboozled in some sort of way. Now we want to flush the whole thing, like fuck them. It's kind of a broadsword approach, very, very blunt object approach. But anyway, just wanted to get that off and over and out to everyone in this another segment of and another thing. Hopefully it was something that gives you a little bit to ponder on when the dinosaur comes back. I want to know what she feels about it too. Hopefully get some things from you guys too, and be mindful of the surveys out there. Would love to hear back from you guys. And I think we have one out there right now about age. How old the person would you want to be involved in a relationship with in comparison to the age you are now. So yeah, again, this is the dude from The Dinosaur and the Dude. Thank you for your time. Love you all, and look forward to having time with you again in the future. Check you later.